Hello, what is up, everybody? My name is Phritzy, and this is me talking to myself. If you're not familiar with me talking to myself, this series, it's literally just a video format of journaling. Most of the time, I kind of write my thoughts out, but sometimes it's easier for me to just speak my thoughts, and it's an opportunity for me to be a bit more vulnerable and showcase who I am and my worries, my insecurities, and the things I've succeeded at because I post this on YouTube and the internets, if you will. So it's been a good 6 months since my last video. Partly I just wanted to take a bit of a break from some of the YouTube stuff. I've been working on learning a lot of new editing systems and been focusing a little bit more on my acting stuff. Also, I was recently on parental leave, which is just, like folks, I'm from Canada. So if you're familiar with maternity leave, like, the mother kind of goes on a bit of a break with their child. In Canada, as a father, you're allowed to do that. So we took a bit of a what do you call it? We took turns. So my wife took the first 8 months of a year. You're allowed to take a year. Well, you can take even longer, different things, but she took the first 8 months. I took the last 4. And I just wanted to focus on just kind of being a dad and just spending time with my child. But I wanted to talk today about how I focus and channel my energy. And recently I've been really pushing towards my acting career, and the type of energy that I mostly feel during most days. And I wanted to share how I focus it into getting some work done. So, first off, I finally landed, some months back, I finally landed my first paid acting job. And to give you some context, it's been 9 years since I graduated from acting school to getting a job. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that the acting world was just so volatile that it takes you that long. Part of why I never had something was in the middle of a lot of it, I gave up acting. When I first started off, I'm from Calgary. I moved to Vancouver. I went there. I wasn't very mature. I didn't have a mentor, nobody to guide me. I was focused on other things. And now in my 30s, I've got to the point with acting that it hurts me not to do it. I could pursue any other career. I'm reasonably intelligent, quite good with business, but it doesn't give me any satisfaction. So I have a job. I still work at a coffee shop that pays the bills, but it doesn't fill me up in any way. And by not acting, not creating, not even doing this fills me up. It hurts. It really hurts. It's like like every day that goes by that I don't do something is like dealing with a lost loved one. It's a bit of a weird thing. So here I am finally going after it. But I wanted to talk more about the energy that kind of prevails mostly within me and how I've able to focus it. So yes, I finally have something tangible. I finally got my first acting job. But what happened after that? After I shot it, about 2 days later. So when I shot the project, I felt this immense joy, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. And then really shortly after, I just felt depressed and I felt sad and I felt really negative. And then about a month and a half later, 2 months, some months later, quite a few months later anyway, there was the finished project, the product, and could see my commercial, and I felt a lot of joy, like, whoa, here it is. And then seeing myself on the side of a train where people took pictures. I haven't actually seen it for myself, but a lot of joy. And then I finally got paid for it too. And that was like actual money for an acting job that I did. For me doing art, someone paid me. Whoa, that's wild. And I felt a lot of joy. But always shortly after, I'd feel really depressed, really down, really negative. And if anybody is familiar with the movie Inside Out, the Pixar movie, it's just about individuals who are kind of ruled by emotions, and it's showing the prevailing emotion and all the assigned emotions. So it's a kid show, so it's kind of simplified. It's like happiness, anger, disgust, sorrow. I feel like there's one more. Anyway, I remember watching that, and it kind of stuck with me a little bit. And I would think about what's the prevailing emotion for me, and I realized it was actually sadness. I'm typically, like, as an actor, it's far easier for me personally to get into a state of tears and sorrow and sadness than it is to have an authentic laugh. That, like, if for me to get into an authentic laugh and succeed at it is a huge achievement for me. Because, your body's your instrument as an actor. So you're relying on your emotions. So when your strongest emotion is sadness, so that was my prevailing emotion. And, when that emotion is left uncontrolled and just doing its own thing, well, you end up doing nothing. You end up like very tired and lethargic, sluggish. If you end up binge watching a bunch of shows or games, not because necessarily you're lazy, but like it's a distraction from the negativity that you feel in your heart. For me personally, I would go to drinking a lot, or I distract myself with working too much. Anything but my art, because when I'm not doing it, it hurts. That's why, like, after a couple days of seeing, me do something, or, a couple days after me being on set, it's like it hurt because I wasn't doing it again. It feels like a loved one is separating themselves from you every time. It's an interesting feeling. I would never recommend acting to anybody unless actually it hurts you not to do it, or any actually passion, for that matter. Kind of an aside, but just something to think about. But I took some time to consider, you see like MMA fighters, they always have this sort of angry disposition to them. They have this angry, like, presence, but it's focused. And I think we all understand anger, if it's left unchecked, unhinged, it's like a nuclear bomb goes off. It's terrible. But also with nuclear power, if you can channel it, if you can focus it, it's incredible power. It's cleaner than anything else. It's just a bit dangerous if you let it do its own thing. And so I came to the realization that sadness, sorrow, depression, I could channel that energy in the same way, because anger does not control me. I do have anger, but it doesn't guide my life. So I was like, how do I channel it? And really what I would do, like, it's just what I've done the last month and a bit, is I'll wake up, and every day, I go through a bit of my routine. I'm waking up and I'm having my coffee, and as I'm having my coffee, I'm waking up, I just feel sad. I feel like I'm not working towards what I want to do. I'm not building up my career. I don't blah, 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 all these negative things, and just starts spiraling. And I learned that that's a heavy energy. That's a heavy, can just like nail me to the floor. But I've started to harness that intense amount of energy into work. So I'll feel that, and immediately, or as soon as I possibly can, or at least in my head, if I'm, hanging out with my kid, I start writing. And not like this type of writing, like I start writing like a character, or writing a little story or a scene or a monologue. And then I will, after, as I'm writing it, I'm putting my emotions into it. So then I'm building these characters that all the characters are extensions of me. And then I will contact my filming friends, and then we'll be like, hey, let's do this scene. And then as we're creating this idea of building a scene, I'm putting creativity into it. Then I pick a character from one of those scenes and I put myself really into that one specific character. And then I act it, or I write a monologue and I act it, and I put it in front of this phone, in front of this camera, even if nobody else sees it. And then, I'll take little clips of it and I'll send it off to casting directors, and I'll start marketing myself. Not marketing as you think on like social media. It's kind of like within the business. But I've learned to, even just an hour, even 15 minutes of me taking that negative, heavy energy and focusing it in either researching something, writing, saying a monologue, memorizing lines, whatever, gets me further to where I need. And that's the energy that negative energy is the energy that allows me to do this. In fact, I felt pretty negative earlier today, and I was like, I have not done this talking to myself video for a while. I think it's time for me to give it a go. And so I took that negative energy I had this morning and I'm presenting it to you, which is interesting because I think if you were to watch me now, you'd probably be like, you look pretty happy. You look pretty satisfied. It's a tricky thing. I think if a lot of people have managed to focus, if their prevailing emotional energy is, some negative one, it's like, well, you seem like fairly happy. And it's like, I'm only happy in the moment of creating the things that I care about. I am also happy when I play with my son and I'm hanging out with my wife. Those are also things that satisfy me. But my art is really important. I should not be neglecting it. So yeah, I just wanted to share that I have now started to figure out that my dominant emotion is negativity. It's sorrow, it's sadness, but I can change it from being this heavy weight where it locks me on the ground and I can actually get some work done. It's really fascinating. And I am closer to my goal of becoming a working actor more in the last 2 months, even month, than I have in the last 15 years, which is a big deal. It's a great revelation for me to have for myself. So I'll end it here. But I hope that this was, if anything at all, fascinating, maybe hopefully a little bit inspiring to anybody. Others, I'm sure you might have the same kind of dominant emotional energy for yourself. I just hope it's entertaining at the very least. So I hope you all have a fantastic day. I hope that you have a fantastic evening, morning, or wherever you are at. And I hope you all take care of yourselves. And I hope just life continues to improve for you all. And at that, I'll say goodbye. Peace.